We're back in from the break, ladies and gentlemen. Hottest form of Alabama news, notes, and information in my own words, the podcast. Yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And we are currently joined right now via the In My Own Words hotline with my brother from another mother, the Justin Smith, lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, the boots on the ground, tracking every single commitment, every single top target, whatever you want to know in recruiting. This is the man right here, Justin Smith. So glad to have you back, Justin. What's going on?
Not much, just following Alabama recruiting.
Nothing like following that Crimson Tide recruiting. Well, Justin, a huge shocker, I guess, came on Wednesday as Arik Gilbert, the five-star tight end, the number one guy at that position on Alabama's board for the 2020 class at 6'5", 253 pounds from Marietta, Georgia. According to a lot of people I spoke with, he is deemed to be O.J. Howard 2.0, and the folks that I briefly spoke with had him as a unquestioned commitment to the Crimson Tide. Somehow, Ed Ogeron and the LSU Tigers swooped in, got his commitment on Wednesday. Does this hurt Alabama in any way, form, or fashion? Just seeing how this was the guy they wanted, and he did not take an official visit to LSU, but the Tigers found a way to get Arik Gilbert. How much, if at all, does this hurt the Crimson Tide?
I don't think this hurts Alabama in terms of their 2020 recruiting class being a huge bust because they didn't land Arik Gilbert. I think it hurts because Arik Gilbert is such a special talent. When you look at Gilbert, he's a guy that stands at 6'5", weighs 250 pounds plus, but he moves like a guy who's much smaller. He can line up at the wide receiver position. He also has a lot of toughness to him, as Marietta High School likes to use him at the defensive end position on those third and long downs to rush to add a extra element to the defensive line. So I think it hurts Alabama in terms of Arik Gilbert being a special talent, and they really wanted to get that special talent to Tuscaloosa. But it's no secret why Gilbert chose LSU. He sees what the Tigers are doing with the offense this season, and he wants to be a part of that. But I know Alabama really wanted tight ends in this particular recruiting class because they want to add depth to the position. As you can see that they moved their former linebacker to the tight end position at Cameron Latu. So Alabama wants to add athletic tight ends in the 2020 recruiting class and transform that position under their tight end coach, Jeff Banks. So that's why Gilbert was such a huge target for Alabama. But moving forward, Alabama will look at guys like Darnell Washington, a 6'7" tight end out of Nevada, who Alabama is currently pushing for very hard. He will take an official visit to Tuscaloosa on LSU week. So if Alabama was to possibly land him in the future, a good official visit on LSU week is going to go a long way for Alabama possibly landing Washington. I know Georgia is really pushing for him very hard, and I think he really wants to get some attention from Oklahoma as well. So Washington is a guy to look out for. Something else to keep note on is the fact that Alabama's five-star athlete target, Drew Sanders, could possibly fit a tight end mold at the next level if Alabama was to use him at the tight end position to possibly add more depth in that way. Alabama could also land another four-star target. He's a four-star defensive end target at the moment, and Reggie Grimes II, who has Alabama ties, as his father, Reggie Grimes, was part of Alabama's 1999 SEC championship team. I think Alabama is really in a good position with Reggie Grimes at the moment. I got a chance to talk with his father on the process after his official visit. So Grimes is a guy who could possibly play tight end at the next level. I know he plays a little bit of running back for Ravenwood High School at this very moment. So those are a couple guys to keep note on. I think Alabama missing out on Gilbert hurts in the form that Arik Gilbert is such a special player.
Now, Justin, according to the Touchdown Alabama Magazine recruiting plug-in site here, we're looking at 4 5-stars for the 2020 class with Chris Braswell on the defensive line, Bryce Young at quarterback, Drew Sanders, you mentioned him at linebacker, and of course, Quandarius Robertson at linebacker. But of those 4 or 5 stars via TDA, 3 of them, Braswell, Young, and Sanders, have been given a diamond grade of 1, which means they're expected to be big-time contributors as freshmen. If you look at this 2020 class with the 23 commitments it's got right now, what's the next position group? Because Alabama's hit on a couple of linebackers in this class, a few offensive linemen, a couple of wide receivers. You got the running back in Roydale Williams. So it's hit on a few major positions, but if there is one spot to where you feel like Alabama has not made a serious connection or a serious splash at, what is that position, and what is the next spot for Alabama in terms of the areas on the field that it needs to target?
Well, I think the offensive line position is probably a position they have not made a splash at in the 2020 recruiting cycle, but I think that is going by plan. I don't think they really want to add on a large amount of guys in the 2020 recruiting class when it comes to the offensive line position after landing a large haul of guys in the 2019 recruiting class. So that's why I think they're happy with landing guys like Damian George, Seth McLaughlin, possibly adding on a couple of more guys. I know they're currently targeting guys like Javion Cohen, Brady Ward, a couple guys to look out for Alabama at offensive line position moving forward. But I think they really want to add on tight ends in this particular recruiting class. As far as the 2020 recruiting class is concerned, they have a lack of depth at the position currently. I know they have currently one commitment, 4-star tight end Caden Clark, but he fits the mold of Alabama's traditional tight ends, a guy who could catch the ball, but is not really that speed and athletic tight end. And that's why I think Jeff Banks wants to add on moving forward in the future. So I think they want to add on more depth to the tight end position and add an athletic tight end, but it's going to be hard for them possibly to finish with that if they can't possibly land Darnell Washington.
Couple more questions we got for you, Justin, as we are live via the phone lines with Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama Magazine, live here on In My Own Words, the podcast. Big week right here, homecoming. Crimson Tide against the Arkansas Razorbacks at Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Time kickoff via CBS. Alabama will honor the 2009 BCS National Championship team, the lone undefeated team of the Nick Saban era, and the first team that had a group of players that chose to come to Tuscaloosa at a time to where Bama football was not popular. So a salute to those guys. But in terms of recruiting, how many student athletes or how many targets or players, Justin, are you seeing that are potentially going to take an official visit this weekend for homecoming in hopes to land an offer?
Well, I know guys who currently have an offer who are currently visiting. There's going to be some huge visitors for Alabama this weekend. A couple of LSU commits, coincidentally, and 5-star wide receiver Rakeem Jarrett out of Washington, D.C., by the way of St. John's High School, and another LSU commit at the wide receiver position, and Kayshawn Booty, a 4-star wide receiver out of Louisiana. I know Booty has told me on many occasions he has a great relationship with Alabama staff, especially with Alabama's defensive coordinator, Pete Golding. So if Alabama was to possibly make a move for Jerry or Booty, is going to take a big time official visit this weekend for those guys. They will also host the 3-star offensive lineman commit Seth McLaughlin for an official visit. Also, McLaughlin has shut his recruitment down 100%. So those are a couple of guys in terms of official visits, in terms of big time recruits visiting Alabama this weekend.
Now, Justin, I'm going to put you on the spot here, not trying to do it. We're going to see how this goes. Do you see, potentially now, seeing how Pete Golding has ties to the state of Louisiana, was a coach at Southeastern Louisiana, is a native of Hammond, Louisiana, 45 miles from Baton Rouge. Do you see Pete Golding and Alabama flipping a talent like Rakeem Jarrett at wide receiver? Can that happen in your mind this weekend?
It can happen. I think it's going to be a hard push. I believe that Jerry wants to be a part of LSU's 2020 recruiting class, because that class, honestly speaking, that class is looking like it's going to be very special. But Alabama could possibly flip him, because Jerry has said in the past that he believes that Alabama is wide receiver U. He's always talked highly on the Tide in the past when I've talked to him in the past. He even has gone on to say that he really likes Alabama's former wide receiver and Dallas Cowboys' current wide receiver, Amari Cooper. I think he really looks up to Cooper, and Nick Saban even compared him to Cooper in ways when they talked in the past, and he reminded him of Cooper with his route running, but he believed that Jerry is a bit tougher than Cooper was coming out of high school.
He's Justin Smith, ladies and gentlemen, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine, just coming on to give us an update on Arik Gilbert and his decision to go to LSU, and why, in his mind, it does not hurt the Crimson Tide in terms of the 2020 class. Alabama trying to stock up the talent at tight end, along with trying to bring in other guys at different positions. The Crimson Tide right now, 23 commitments in this class. That is number two nationally, number one, if I'm not mistaken, in the Southeastern Conference. Justin, we appreciate you so much for coming on to drop your knowledge and expertise, as you are the hardest working man in the game in terms of the recruiting front. Any final words on your end, man?
I'm good. Thank you for allowing me to come on, Steven, and I'm available to come on anytime.
Absolutely, folks. Be sure to check out his show, The Process, every Monday and Wednesday via YouTube, Touchdown Alabama magazine, where you can catch The Process with Justin Smith. That leads us now to our final break here on the show. As always, don't touch that dial, folks. You can download the Touchdown Alabama magazine app for your iPhone if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. Check out the podcast options at the bottom of the screen. Upon our return, we will get into Steven's final word. What will I say this week? Who will I challenge this week? Don't touch that dial, folks. We're coming back. Tying up loose ends on In My Own Words. What's up, college football fans? You can catch the hottest show in the streets, that being In My Own Words, the podcast, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Subscribe to Touchdown Alabama magazine for the best in Tide football.